Speers, everybody. What's going on, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's up, everyone?
Dude, I've been loving seeing the growth on YouTube lately. I think you're
Bro,
really starting to find something.
it has been a ride the last 2 months, but hopefully it's just getting started, you know?
Dude, I know, I think so. I remember I shot you like a kind of joking DM that you're gonna pass Zach Levitt one day, and and that kind of started us going back and forth a little bit, I think. But
Yeah.
dude, I don't know. I mean, not like that's more of a joke, but like I really think that you're about to start to go towards something. I
Yeah,
don't
bro,
know.
I think the thing is with the running niche, everything's going towards like viral content instead of like more of the athlete special, like workout stuff.
Yes.
So I think regardless, I'm very slow to be where I'm at, like in the YouTube niche. So like I don't think it matters as much. I think it's more about the idea you're putting forth, and sky's the limit. Nick Simmons, I mean, he was an Olympian, but he's not like that fast.
Yeah, he's fat now.
Yeah. So I mean, he's the peak right now, so that's where it's all heading.
So do you think you're going to be trying to do more of this viral running stuff, or do you think you're going to try to kind of widen the niche that you got going on?
That's a good question. I think ultimately, I'm trying to make the most viral content I possibly can.
Okay.
But at the same time, I always upload Wednesday, and I want those to be viral, but I also want to have like a good mix and upload like workout videos Saturday constantly. And I think that's the goal, balance it to have big viral videos Wednesday and like more like community building, like more in-depth in my training on Saturday. So I don't know. We'll see. Right now, that's where my head's at.
Okay. I mean, here's the thing: is like most people aren't going to attempt like to develop a social media presence and all this. It's like this is a crazy thing to do. Like you're a unique guy. So like I see your YouTube starting to gain traction, your podcast is starting to gain traction. Like why are you fascinated by this space? Is it something that's like it's hard? People dream of doing this, but like most people can't do it.
Yeah, wow, that's a good question. I actually don't know why I like YouTube so much. Like, I really overall enjoy the growth, the numbers, the community building, and I guess making a video too. That's like what it's all about. And honestly, YouTube's so great because you look at me like, okay, I ran a 4:58 mile all out a couple of days ago. That is awful. But like, so no one should ever like know who I am. Like, I'm never gonna go pro. But like, YouTube gives me a platform to like share my running, even though it's not like the traditional pro route.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's like, I mean, there's a lot of kids that are like, oh, I want to break 5 in the mile. There's not a lot of kids that are like, oh, I want to break 4 in the mile, you know?
True.
So like, I feel
It's
like you're
definitely, like,
relatable.
point out the relatability.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of like music. Like, you know, like music, you listen to a song because it makes you feel like connected to it, and you're connected to the artist, and you're like, oh, these are lyrics, they mean something to me. I've had a similar experience. And then like, when it starts to be only about like, get money, fuck bitches, you know, you kind of like, at least for me, I start to be like, I don't live that lifestyle. Like, it's cool that you came up, but like, I don't identify with it as much because I haven't had those rags to riches story. At least I'm at the rags, not the riches part.
Hey, soon.
We'll see.
I've seen the content. It's definitely has huge potential for sure.
Yeah, I think so. Well, so
Hey, all you need is the ideas. That's the hardest part, and you have the ideas.
okay. I mean that's really good to do. Here, thanks, man. So
For sure.
So, I mean, you did do kind of the YouTuber thing. You moved out to a content house in LA with some, like, real YouTubers? What was that like, man?
Yeah, oh man. So last fall, I didn't like, okay, I'm in college right now. I would have been starting my senior year in the fall, but because of COVID, everything was online, right? So I was like, do I really want to go back to school and do these Zoom classes? Which is what I ended up doing this semester anyway, but it's whatever.
Oh, yeah, it's not great.
At that point. But yeah, I moved out to LA with my friend Zach, who I know from high school, and Zach Levitt, I mean, very well known in running niches, I guess. And yeah, we were like, let's just make some good videos together and like have a good time. And that's what we did. LA, Park City, back to LA. it was a blast for 3 months.
Yeah, dude, I bet, man. Like, what kind of connections did you build through that? Like, what's the LA life like? I know you made a video kind of detailing it, and it was really good, and it got some traction. But I think a lot of people are curious, like, what happens when you move out to LA and you chase some creative goal? Like, are you meeting, like, Leonardo DiCaprio, or are you just meeting homeless bums on Venice Beach? Like, what's going on? Little of both?
Honestly, a little bit of both. I was lucky enough to, like, meet Casey Neistat and Channing Tatum when I was...
No way, dude.
So crazy. Like, it just happened. I was walking on the beach one day, and I saw, like, a drone flying on the beach. I'm like, that's kind of weird. And I saw it, like, filming some surfers. I was like, it has to be Casey. It has to. And, like, sure enough, he walks out, like, 3 minutes later. I was like, what's up, man? Like, how's it going? You know, like, trying not to make a fool of myself.
Yeah, no. What's he like?
Like, another time, the Channing Tatum, I was just, like, out on the beach again. They were shooting some movie, and he was just there, like, as the lead actor. It just, like, happened. I don't even know. It was so crazy. Such a different life than, like, right now, like, in Blacksburg. Like, I go to Virginia Tech. So boring. Everything was happening, so...
Damn, so is it, like, LA parties, people doing coke off of people's tits and stuff? Or, like...
Dude, I mean, not really for us. We honestly tried to keep it kind of, like, focused. Like, we were trying to grind out content and, like, make stuff happen. Yeah, that's about it.
But it's there, right? It's like a real thing. It's not just the movies.
For sure. Like, there's definitely, like, parties that, like, you could go to that were, like, big time, like, blowout, like, you know, all that drug stuff.
That drug stuff.
We were trying not to do that as much. But yeah, I mean, we still had some good times and stuff.
No, for sure.
Too wild.
No, would you, like, do you want to go back? Is that something you're interested in?
I would love to go back for a week. I don't know if I'd love to go back, like, full time. Like, after college, like, I'm probably going to have to get a job, but I'm going to be grinding YouTube. Obviously, that's, like, a big goal. Like, if I could support myself through YouTube, that'd be awesome. But I don't know if LA is the place. And Zach is honestly, like, the same way. It's a lot of distraction. It's hard to stay focused. It was fun for a couple months, but long term, it'd be kind of tough.
So what you're saying is you're announcing a Zach Levitt move on the Kalen Yeager podcast?
Maybe in the future. We'll see what happens with him. He still has a lease, so we'll see what happens. It depends on what happens with me too after graduation and all that stuff. I don't know. We'll see.
So you're at Virginia Tech right now, right? So, like, out in the mountains,
yes,
kind of, in Virginia? Kind of?
Bro, yeah. It's not the most exciting place to be.
No? Are you kind of done with it? You're kind of ready to move on?
Yeah, like, the problem is 2020, I was studying abroad in Barcelona, and I was in LA, and I was not in school for an entire year, pretty much, and coming back was, like, the biggest shock of my life, just, like, having to go to class again and, like, focus and, you know, get good grades and all that stuff, and at the same time, like, I'm trying to grind on YouTube, like, upload twice a week, high quality. It's a grind. Like, with school, it is a grind. So, I don't know, this semester, I've had 90% work and probably 10% fun, and that is not a mix for happiness, you know?
No.
I'm ready to, like, summer breaks approaching. I have an internship, which kind of sucks. You know, well, hopefully we're going to get away from, like, the college, like, grind. Like, there's nothing like studying, so I got to get away from that for a bit, take a quick break, and finish it up in the fall.
So fall is your last semester and you'll graduate?
Yeah, because I should be graduating, like, right now.
Okay.
That gap semester in the fall, so it, like, just gets pushed back pretty much.
You know, I mean, it's kind of, those gap semesters are very valuable, at least what I found. Like,
Exactly. I feel like I almost learned more that semester than I did in school.
Oh, for sure.
But...
Like college, I don't know, at least my perspective has always been like, you're not really learning that much that's that valuable. It's more like you're around people making social connections and building your social, like, personality and who you are.
I'm with you.
And like,
I think there's a lot more to be learned by doing like personal projects. It depends on who you are, of course. Like for me, like I don't want to like work a corporate job. Like I want to be doing my own thing. So the stuff I learned in school is like not that valuable to me. It's valuable if I get a job, but if that's not the end goal, you know, why go through it?
I know, I totally agree, man. I don't know. I found like just doing this is just so much more fulfilling. Just like being able to like have like this unfiltered version of yourself, just talking to people. Yeah. Like even different from YouTube. It's like podcasts, you break down all these walls. Like there's no editing, there's no, production. You're just like talking to someone and kind of recording it. And that's just kind of it. Like there's just so much less between raw Kalen and what is seen by people. And you don't have to perform as much, I find.
Yeah, big time. Podcasting is just different. Like it's unfiltered. It's so raw. And like, yeah, you just got to learn like personal connection, like human connection. That's all that matters in podcasting. And it's really crazy ultimately. Like you don't learn this stuff in school.
Yeah, it's who you know, not what you know, as they say.
Straight up.
Those life mottos seem to be, like pretty accurate most of the time.
Right. All of it's based in fact, it comes into play at some point.
So where are you going after school? Like, do you know yet? Are you still figuring it out?
Dude, I don't know. Like, it depends on where my job is. It depends on where YouTube is. It depends on a lot of different factors. I could not tell you where I'll be in 6 months. Like, I have no clue whatsoever. Dang. Hopefully not in Virginia. That's my only thing. I want to get out.
You want to get out. What are you looking at? Like, do you have places in mind?
Best places to live? If everything went perfect, if I could choose the ultimate thing, I would probably be doing YouTube in either Utah or Colorado.
Okay.
That would be the dream, but
why not, man?
It's a dream. We'll see what happens. The YouTube growth continues. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I was talking to you earlier, and you were saying how like you're kind of starting to get to a point where YouTube is starting to like support itself a little bit. You might not be making money, but like at least you're not like just going into the negatives like every video.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about. I mean, over the course of my channel, I've 100% operated at a loss, like, no question.
Oh yeah.
It's honestly hard to get monetized on YouTube now. The 4K watch hours is significant to like start off with. So I mean, I wasn't monetized for a year and a half. And I was like spending money, and obviously now that like I'm monetized and like getting brand deals, it's easier to like put money into videos, I guess you could say. Like I when I invest like $20 like paying someone out, which like helps the video, it also like doesn't feel that bad because hopefully I'll make that money back in the video if it does well enough.
Dang.
But I mean, I'm still operating at zero.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not, I mean, I've done YouTube a little bit. I'm not at quite the level you are at in like, popularity wise.
Soon.
Maybe, yeah, we'll see. We'll keep it going. But like, it's crazy to see like how close, like, I mean, obviously you have a significantly more subscribers and stuff like that, but just the fact that like, oh, I do this for 2 months and like, at some point, I'm going to start making money, but even though it's something I like doing, it's just crazy to be able to do that. It's a blessing, honestly.
Yeah, I think, it's big. Like, if you can really, like, get your YouTube, like, act together and, like, really, like, get on it quick, like, you can make money very fast. And honestly, if you're getting enough views, you can support yourself like very easily. Like there's people with like 30K, 40K subs who are like easily making a living.
Well, I mean,
so
that's
all about like monetization.
I mean, that's what like when Zach Levitt took off in a van to go out west. Like, wasn't he around that? Like,
yeah,
it's like, crazy.
I think he like dropped out when he was at like 40K or something. Which like at the time, all of my friends and like were like, this is ridiculous, but it was the right move. Like, it was 100% the right move. So it's crazy the opportunity YouTube and, like, TikTok even, and podcasting now presents.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much potential in it. Everything's moving digitally. Like, you got to get on this train while it's still in the station. Like, it might be gone at some point, but like right now, like this is the era to get on, start doing something. I mean, you're gonna suck at anything. Like, what did you do the first time you rode a bike?
Yeah,
You fell every time. Like the first 25 times, you fell on your ass. You cut up your knees. It wasn't fun. And then you just got it. And then eventually, like, holy cow, I can ride a bike. And now I can ride a bike for the rest of my life. Just crazy.
Right. That's a good analogy, honestly. Like, I'm happy, like, I got into YouTube in 2018, so, like, now I failed, like, at so many videos. I've learned so much that, like, now I can, like, make a better video. And in 2 years, I'm going to be like, dang, the videos I was making now were garbage. You know, you just keep evolving.
Yo, for sure.
You're at the same, like, make every video, like, 1% better.
Oh, of course.
That's, like, so essential, I think.
I mean, if you're doing that for anything, like if you're doing 1% better at something like every day or every week or however you're posting or your whatever this activity's occurrences, and Rusty. Sorry about that, it cut out. What were we going on? Oh, if you can if you can make yourself 1% better at anything over this course of the time, like you're gonna get really, really good at it if you do it 1,000 times. Because, like, it's 1,000%. That's not even, that's so much better.
It's all about patience. I think, like, in today's society, everything's, like, instant reward.
For sure.
Like, you're not going to be good at YouTube when you first start. Like, I watched my first video. I'm like, oh, my God, this is awful. But, like, over 150 videos, you get better and better. And, like, yeah, same thing with anything. Like, you start a business, it's going to be awful at the beginning. But when you learn more from, like, failing, you'll be great.
Yes. No, dude, as long as you have the belief in yourself and you're doing what you want to do, like, just keep going. Eventually, it has to work, right? Or at least you're fulfilled by what you're doing, even if it isn't. Because, like, would you be happy doing something that, like, is more stable, even if it wasn't something that you wanted to be doing? You know?
Right. That's huge. And, like, yeah, that's my whole goal with the job. Like, I'd rather be making 50K off YouTube than 100K off a job any day.
Oh, for
sure. That's not even a question. Plus, you get, like, potential for growth on YouTube, new opportunities. Like, you're not going to get that, like, control in your job. So,
oh, yeah. Because, like, the potential, like, of getting a job, like, okay, you get a job at 70K. Maybe over the course of 40 years, you move up to 120K. Like, just monetarily. Like, we're talking completely money. Like, YouTube, okay, maybe you start at 1K, but then, I mean, there's people making tens of millions of dollars a year off of YouTube. Like, that's insane. Like, people are posting videos, like Mr. Beast is making videos where he's giving away millions of dollars in, like, a video for a YouTuber.
Inspiration, dude. I cannot tell you, like, I study Mr. Beast, like, to make the videos great, because he's the peak, like, right now he is the top. The man has, like, 5 channels, each of them hold 10 million views a video. Like, how do you get that?
It's crazy.
The reason why he's been doing it for 10 years now, and man, his first videos were the same, like, as anyone else's.
Yeah, they were bad. If you go, I mean, honestly, it's good. Just go back and look at old Mr. Beast videos, and you're like, holy cow, everyone sucks at the beginning. Or, like, old PewDiePie, you're like, this is so bad. It's like them playing video games, and they're awkward, and they can't talk to the camera, and so funny.
Right. It is all developed. Like, yeah, it's just all about putting the effort. Because every single person uploaded their first video or started something at some point, and they were all in the exact same boat. But the only difference is they kept at it, and kept grinding, and kept getting better.
So what's next for running? I heard you kind of like finished up your track season and stuff like that. You have any thoughts on that? Are you kind of take a break? Are you going to keep going into something else?
Dude, my track season was not what I wanted. Like, I still just can't get over, like, how badly I raced. I don't know why. Like, it wasn't like I gave up or, like, anything like that in races. It just wasn't good. Like, especially that mile. The mile was, like, beyond anything I thought I could do. But I took a week off last week. I'm starting summer training this week for cross country in the fall, and that should be fun. Hopefully, big goals, big aspirations there. I'm in shape despite what my time said. Like, based on my workouts, I think I'm in shape. So hopefully I'll be in good shape for the fall. We'll see what happens. It's a long time from now. Got to stay healthy. And yeah.
For sure. So I know one of your biggest videos is kind of talking about diabetes and being an athlete and stuff like that. So like, how does that affect you on day to day?
Big time, bro. It's hard to like quantify because freshman year of high school, like I was like undiagnosed, like I didn't have diabetes, if that makes sense. Like I just didn't have it, and I was like definitely running well. Like I broke 5 like my freshman year of high school. Like things looked great, and then that summer, like I like developed diabetes essentially, and it's just like genetic, like it. I don't know exactly why I developed. And I was like training horribly that summer. And it took a long time for me to like get to the point where I was like back to where I was at without diabetes. And even now, I don't know how much it like affects me. It definitely like affects me somehow. Like it's hard to like diet like as well as you would want with it, and like it's hard to like get the right like nutrients and all that stuff, and it's very hard to run when you're like severely affected by it. But I don't know where I'd be at without it. It's really hard to tell. I would definitely be faster, I'd definitely be healthier, but besides that, like I don't really know.
So what is like, okay, say you want to go work out. So like what is the preparation, the during and the after that you have to deal with just because of the diabetes that...
Yeah, that's good. So like if I'm ever running, I need to like check my blood sugar to make sure it's like at a good point. Because if it's too low, that's really bad, and like I will not be able to run. If it's too high, it's like still not good, but I'll still be able to run. It like makes my head fuzzy. It makes you just feel like honestly like almost drunk. I don't know exactly how to explain the feeling. But yeah, I'll just check it. If it's too low, I'll eat something, just like a quick snack to like boost it up, and then run. And that's pretty much it. After my run, I'll check it again. Usually it'll be like right where I expect it to be. But yeah, I actually raced a half marathon like last February in Barcelona, and my blood sugar, it's going to be hard unless you know it, but my blood sugar like went from super high to super low during the course of the race because it was like such a long race.
Yeah.
And that's scary. I'm attempting to do a marathon next fall, and yeah, that's going to be tough. It's going to be really, really tough.
Do you just have to eat like a bunch of stuff throughout the entire race? Is that what's hard?
Not ideally. Like, for 5Ks, as long as my blood sugar is like a little bit higher than normal, I guess you could say, it'll be like okay. Like, it'll drop, but not enough to like negatively impact me. But if it's like a half marathon, I have to be really careful, like so it doesn't go too low, because if it goes low at all, it's like a struggle to run a flat pace all out. So
I'm sure that must be scary too, because like you don't really, like, you're trying to push yourself as hard as you can, but like most people, they push themselves as hard as they can. They're like, okay, I'm gonna have to start walking, but you're like, oh, I could just pass out and just be hospitalized or something. Like,
yeah, for real. It always is like a worry in the back of my head. I think luckily, like, I've had it for, gosh, almost 7 years now. So I feel like I kind of know, like when you know,
yeah,
when you're like doing bad. But yeah, luckily, like nothing's ever like happened on a run, like where I'm like 4 miles away and my blood sugar goes low. But it could, and I've always got to like stay like aware of that, try to make sure it's good. It's just like an extra thing to worry about, and I don't know. I honestly don't touch on it like that much in the videos, but I should.
You think? Okay, I mean,
yeah, definitely.
It's kind of cool because you get to see a rawer Tyler, you know?
Right.
Do you like keep things with you if you're like out and about or something that you like need to be able?
Yeah, big time. If I'm running, I usually don't bring anything, but anytime I like leave the house or do anything go anywhere, I'll bring all my supplies and stuff like that, just in case something happens, or if I need to eat or like do anything really.
What's like the go-to? Like what gets you going? What gets it back up? Like
my go-to snack is fruit gushers. Like good sugar, tastes good, instant. In fact, it's like it's
it just does it, dude.
It gets you feeling good real quick.
Okay, you were saying how, I mean, you've articulated in your videos a little bit, but you've been traveling a bit as of like before COVID started and everything. Like, what's that whole experience like? You go on this gap semester. I'm sure most people at some point are like, oh, I want to go travel abroad and things like that. So how did that all pan out?
Yeah, I was so lucky to get to study abroad, even though it was like cut short by COVID and all that stuff. I went into college. I was like, I have to study abroad because it's such a good like experience. You get to travel, you get to experience and live in a different country. So I went to Barcelona because A, I speak Spanish, so that's like a major plus, and B, Barcelona is one of the most hyped up cities there is, and it lives up to the hype.
Really?
So I was like, this would be great. It has it all: beaches, clubs, art museums. It is the best city.
That's all you need, right? Those three.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I was like all in for Barcelona. Went out like in January of last year, 2020. Went a couple of places. Went to Malta. Broke my camera. Crashed my drone. Awful experience. All my life.
I remember seeing that video, dude. You were so sad.
I'm like in tears. I was crushed, and I didn't bring my passport too. Like the biggest like mistake. Man. I don't even know why I did that. Malta was a nightmare.
Would you ever go back?
Wait, what?
Would you ever go back?
I would 100% go back. I would love to go back. Like it's like a success story, almost like triumph over Malta. You know.
Go fly your drone over the same spot just to be like, dude, fuck you.
I'm scared to death to fly my drone. I would have a nightmare. Like, it would be the scariest thing.
Damn.
But yeah, we had to get, like, evacuated out in, like, mid-March, came home, and, like, you know, everyone quarantined, and then went out west, and went to, like, everywhere out there and stuff. And I don't know, my family just, like, has been lucky enough to, like, my parents, like, always brought Jacob and I, like, along on travels. So, it like, I just love traveling.
How was that process when they're like, okay, it's March, and, like, they're like, okay, the world is about to go into a zombie apocalypse. You need to get back to your origin country. Like, how do they do that? Like, what's the infrastructure?
I know. It was like, I remember I was in Prague the last, like, day in February. So, like, 2 weeks maybe before everything took off. And that was when concern, like, first started to build. And I remember there was, like, all these girls in my class who were, like, always like, oh, I'm so scared of COVID and stuff. And at the time, like, this was, like, early March and stuff. And I was like, this is a joke. Like, what is COVID? Or is it actually going to be a big thing? And maybe, like, March, like, 8th or something was, like, our last class. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I got evacuated out on Sunday. On Monday, like 6 days before, I booked tickets to go to Sweden. So, like, I had zero concern at that point. And everything, like, escalated. I, like, got out as, like, because Spain was really shutting down. It was, like, locking down big time. No flights. So I, like, got on a flight to New York randomly. Like, last minute, like, one of the last times you could, like, leave Spain. And yeah, I, like, flew into New York and then, like, flew to Richmond after. And it was a nightmare. Like, I was scared to death, honestly. I was going to get trapped in Spain. I wasn't, like, that concerned about COVID still. I was so scared I was going to get, like, stuck in Spain for the next couple months. And so, yeah, I like, made it back.
That's ridiculous. Like, I mean, what do? You can't earn money in a foreign country, right? Like, or, like, legally, yeah. For the most part, unless you get, like, a specific work visa, and you're, like, just going to run out of money, be homeless in Barcelona.
Right. It been so bad. I wish I took it a bit more seriously at the time. It was out of my left.
Hindsight 2020. I remember one of my friends was in Peru. So I was in Peru in the fall before COVID, up until like early winter. And then one of my friends that I'd met there, he's from Netherlands. His name is Naughton, but he was still there. And then COVID all happened, and I like DM him, and I'm like, "Yo, dude, are you still in Peru?" And he's like, "Yeah, dude, I'm stuck here. I have no idea when I'm getting out, but like, yo, life's good, man. It's sunny out at least."
I can't imagine being in like an underdeveloped country. That would be so much worse. Like just trying to get out and all that stuff.
Oh.
Dude, Peru is a dream of mine. I want to hit it so bad.
I mean, you should. I mean, it's cheaper than going to Barcelona, that's for sure.
Yeah, straight up.
Like, when I bought my ticket, it was just on a whim. I saw an ad on, on Safari or whatever, and it just popped up. It was like, tickets to Peru, $199, and I was like, okay, I have money, so why not? So then you do it, and you're just like, holy cow, I just bought a one-way to Peru. What am I going to do with my life?
Hey, that's how the best adventures begin.
For sure, dude. And I don't know. What do you think about Olympics are coming up? Olympic year, 3 months out. I mean, isn't it crazy? Like, we're in the middle of this COVID thing. I mean, kind of, and now we're gonna have every country in the world all combined together in like one of the most densest cities in the world, and it's like, what a year to be in Tokyo, like the biggest city in the world, and
right. I think it needs to happen. Like, I think the Olympics will almost be a return. Oh my gosh, a return to normalcy. Like, it's definitely possible. I've heard like they're gonna make all athletes, all coaches quarantine 14 days before, and I feel like we're at the point almost of return. College, the last couple of weeks has felt almost like normal college.
Wow.
And that might be because cases are so low in Blacksburg, everyone's vaccinated. But it feels almost like it did before. So I'm all for it. Like, I hope it goes forward. I hope they can do it. I saw, like, New Balance Nationals or something like that was canceled for track this spring. I was shocked. I, like, couldn't believe they canceled that.
Yeah. I think it's probably because there's a brand associated with it. You know, because Olympics is, like, its own thing. It doesn't really need, like New Balance doesn't want to be picking fights with the COVID police, you know? Like, that's not going to go well. But I was reading this article today, man, and it was saying how that the Olympics was trying to ban Black Lives Matter's protest and signage worn by athletes during some of the Olympic venues, which is like, I was like, what? I don't know. It just seems weird because, like, in my opinion, when you, like, are limiting someone to do something, it usually doesn't end well. It's like when we're like, oh, we're going to crack down on drugs, and then everyone still is drugs except it's illegal, and now we have all this gang violence and stuff like that. So it's just like, what's the point of it? Like, where are we going with it?
I think that's crazy. And that's such a bad look for the Olympics if that goes through. Like, there's no better stage to promote that than the Olympics. When everyone's tuned in, and I think the biggest key is the Olympics really promotes, like, unity. So it's like the perfect time because everyone's going to be unified behind that. And, yeah, that's a bad move.
So here's what I was thinking, though, is, like, maybe it's a bad move, or maybe they're playing us, and they're like, okay, now we're going to have Kalen talking about it on his podcast because he read this article in the news because they're trying to ban it. And even if they do ban it, what do you do? Like, if someone is, you know, on the biggest stage in the world at the Olympics, and it's, like, illegal to protest for Black Lives Matter, and then they do, and then they're like, just amplifies their message because now it's wrong, and people just want it more or they hate it more.
I love that take. And honestly, a lot of companies are doing that. They'll, like, ban something, like Lil Nas X with his
yes,
like, shoes or whatever. I mean, perfect, like, great marketing. Personally, I don't think the, like, IOC Olympic Committee, like, I don't think they'd, like, be smart enough to do that, honestly. Like, those are all, like, old dudes. Like, I don't think they're, like, in touch enough to, like, know that marketing strategy.
Maybe they have some young whip that's, like, coming in trying to change things or something. But
that would be good. That's what they should have. For sure.
No, but dude, it reminds me, you know that like iconic like Black Power salute photo with the track athletes with the black gloves raised?
Yeah.
This is what it all reminds me of. It's like brewing the same kind of thing almost. Cause like that was in 1968, so that was like right like months after Martin Luther King was assassinated, and then you get this big like extreme like the biggest stage in the world almost is like the podium of the Olympics. Like
Yeah.
and especially in the track events, because like track is probably like the original sport and stuff. Like everyone will see that photo forever. It's on posters everywhere. It's crazy. I feel like you're setting up the stage for something to just be absolutely brewing of like this political unrest and stuff like that. And people are like, oh, I just want to make, track or swimming. I just want to have sports just like carry themselves as it is. But you have all these athletes who now feel empowered, or also like it's almost a necessity to be like promoting like inclusiveness and this activist mindset. Also, you're going to be ousted by the public because you're like not part of the movement.
Right. It's almost like hate. See, I actually hate that so much that like if you're not like directly promoting it, you almost get like canceled.
Yeah.
And that sucks. Like it's a great movement, and like every political movement or whatever you want to call it is great, but it's a bad sign when companies are getting like canceled or people are like pulling off sponsors if they don't directly promote it.
Yes.
And it's really a problem like in today's society and all that stuff, but it isn't like more prevalent. I don't know. It's a tough situation.
It's tough because you get hate from both sides, right? Or like,
right.
I mean, we're creating these sides, right? But I read this article about because I was fascinated with the photo, and it was saying how like a few months after that there was an article written by like Time magazine that was quoted to say like the Olympics are about being faster, higher, and stronger, and not angrier, nastier, and uglier, which better describes the last when we were at the Olympics, just because of the protests of it all. And like it's just fascinating because I also watched an interview, and one of the guys, Tommy Smith, I'm pretty sure it was, he's still receiving death threats from that day, 53 years later. It's like, what are we doing? Like, why do we care? Like the amount of time people are spending like being worried about how other people are living their lives, it's just so unproductive. Like, dude, start a business, do something. Like, you have that much, like, if you spent that hour of your day, which you just like get worried about shit and like trying to like be like, this isn't right, I gotta change it. Like, just put it into something productive. There's so much time that you're wasting.
Big time. Like all those people, like I don't even have Twitter anymore, but all those people who like just like rant on Twitter, it's so useless. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't do anything. Because the verbiage is so divisive. That's what I found. Like all the Instagram stories for, like, obviously I'm supportive of the Black Lives Matter movement. I'm supportive of like most social movements in like their essence. But like they get turned into like this like, okay, if you're not supporting it, you are like you're public enemy number one, and we're trying to come after you. And it's just creating this just a bad culture.
Big time. It's awful. Do you remember like I think it was June 2nd, the Blackout Tuesday?
Yes. It's crazy.
One girl I know posted like a non-black screen and she got slammed, which I thought was so ridiculous. I could not believe that. I was like, it's great if you post a black screen like and show that unity, but you can't hate someone else for posting something else.
Yeah.
You know? It didn't make any sense. It's like it's just adding hate. It's adding more hate.
I mean, and the thing is, there's no intent. Like, she's just like, okay, one thing she could be unaware. Another thing she could just like, maybe this is not what she's passionate about. Like people have other passions. Like,
Nazi symbol or something.
Yeah, it's not like she's just like putting someone just like in this racial position just to piss people off. It's crazy.
Exactly.
And
that's the problem. It's like you almost need a voice about it when like sometimes you don't need a voice. Like I am so like ill-informed about the whole protest. And obviously like being white, it's hard to like like relate. So like I'm in no position to really talk about it.
Yeah.
and that's like the problem. Like, especially like I remember Charlie D'Amelio on TikTok had BLM, like Black Lives Matter, as her profile picture for like a year, and a lot of people were saying like she was scared to take it down because she thought she would get hate if she removed it.
I'm sure she would, dude.
Right.
It's crazy, these things. Like, I don't remember how long ago it was, but like, she got to 100 million TikTok followers or something, and then she like posted something that wasn't appreciative enough, and then people just all unfollowed because they're like, I hate Charlie D'Amelio now. It's like, what are you doing, man?
I know, the cancel culture is ridiculous. I'm like scared to death that happens. Like, if anything, and people just start hating, it's ridiculous how fast. Even when you don't have all the facts, like it's one soundbite, and that's the end.
Yeah, it's like, think of how many times you misspeak in a day, you know, like, it's so, and it's hard to, also, like, if I'm tell, like, a minute monologue about an idea, and you take 5 seconds of it, you can make that look however you want, right? Like, if you take it without the clause at the end, like, it can mean anything you want it to.
Exactly. I remember we were shooting this video once, and I was like, I like asked the people, I'm like, what's your favorite race? Like, you know, intending like 5K or mile. And we were like, should we put that in? Because it's like, what if, like, is it talking about like white or like Asian or black? Like, it could be taken that way.
What the fuck, man?
It's crazy. It's actually insane. You have to think of that stuff. I was like, and I ultimately didn't put it in either because I was like, if someone takes this the wrong way, it's like over.
Dude.
So many things like that happen. I remember also in July last year, do you know like this game, you do this, you slap the net?
Yeah.
Someone on one of my videos commented like, why are you holding up a white supremacist sign? And I looked it up, and this is a white supremacist sign, but like everyone knows it's like this.
Dude, you're canceled. You're canceled.
I was like,
okay, we're clipping it. I'm putting the clip on YouTube right now. You're done. Everyone end Tyler Speers. Exactly. This kid's career is going down the drain.
Right. But I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I don't even know like what to respond to that. It's hard sometimes. It's hard
when you're unaware too. Like because you were. I don't know. I personally, if people don't fuck with it, I'm just gonna keep it going. I believe in what I'm doing, and I believe in what I'm saying for the most part. And if I don't and I end up regretting it, I'll mention that. But I think I'm just gonna try to keep it as unfiltered as possible, because that's what I feel like that's the most interesting, is the rawest me. I don't want to be like presenting myself as something I'm not. And I don't know. I try to like have a mindset where I'm like, I'm not leftist, I'm not rightist, I'm not conservative, I'm not liberal. I'm just a person who has ideas and thoughts, and I try to pull from the most reasonable and like productive sources, and not just try to be red team, blue team on this.
That's big. That's honestly huge in today's society. Like, the election killed us. The election was brutal. And it shouldn't be. Like, it should be like a good time. You welcome.
Yeah. It's a sign of healthy democracy. Like,
right.
It's funny though, if you think about it, because like we never know what we want, because if you look at the presidents, we've gone red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue for the past 30 years.
Yeah.
Like, since like Clinton, we've just like switched every other, and we're like, this sucks, let's do something else. This sucks, let's do something else. We're just in this reactionary state that just like is unproductive, and now we're just getting so polarized, which I think is in part because of social media. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on that. Like, it's
dude, I could rant about like the role of the media in dividing the nation. It's beyond anything. It really is just destroying like us as like an American. Like, because at this point, like, liberals and conservatives are so divided. It's not about what's like best for America. It's about what's best for like blue or what's best for red. It's too much. Like, you are an American you're a person first, then you're an American. I would never like identify as like a political party like before I identify as an American.
Yes.
That's so critical.
No, I think I think my origin story of like political interest was like the Trump 2016 campaign.
Oh, yeah.
And I just remember like not knowing what was going on. And I was just fascinated by Trump. I didn't know what it meant to be a Trump guy or a not Trump guy or whatever it is. And I was fascinated because it's just like, it was so different. Like this dude was just coming up, and I love numbers and analytics and just like seeing the divide between the reality and the analytics and just everything clashing together at the presidency. And then the election night, and everyone's like, holy shit, Trump is the president of America. And I was like, I'm kind of like, holy cow, this is so cool because it's such a moment, but it's also like, holy shit, who is Trump? And then you start going in this political rabbit hole. And then like after a couple of months, I was like, holy cow, Trump's the worst person ever. And now I'm like, and then I like went into this complete like, okay, I'm going to be as opposite of that. I'm going to be like supporting completely like progressive movements and stuff like that. And I just bought it. And then now as I've kind of like gained a little understanding from both sides, there's nuance to everything. Nothing in the world is black and white except a math problem, because that's why math sucks. So, I don't know how you feel about math. You could be a math major, and I'm sorry if I offended your mathness.
No, I'm fine, so I'm not too into it.
But then I just kept growing, and like you learn to be like, yeah, there's nuance. Like I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, put it all together. I'm not blue, I'm not red, I'm not anything. I'm just Kalen. I'm just a person just living my life, trying to make the best decisions for me and the people around me and ultimately the country and the world.
That's huge. Yeah, dude, I remember like when Trump got elected in 2016, I think there was honestly a lot of hope because he was like not the like classic politician. Everyone was like, oh, I want to get away from like, what's been going on. And I mean, it went south. It really went south this like last 20 or 12 months or whatever. But yeah, I remember when Trump was elected, I was like pretty happy. I was like, this will be great. It will switch up America. It will be like a new thing, a new wave. I don't know.
It was. It was a new wave, but I don't know how productive it was, because I think there is value in like some Trump ideology of like we're kind of like a little libertarian, and we're trying to focus on America a little bit and like get out of shit that we don't need, like bullshit wars and like all this kind of stuff that. And he like, the funny thing about Trump is he's got no filter, right? So like every day, like one thing would just pop out where you're like, huh, that's what's really going on. The politics know it. The politicians know it. Yet they're just ignoring it and they're being bought out and all this. And like Trump, even if he is bought out, he doesn't care. So he'll just speak his mind sometimes. But then it's not effective when you're just so bad at speaking and rallying people to do things that are just completely unproductive for the country and just divisive. But like the mindset, there's something a little bit in there that's like what probably I think we need. It's just like away from all the bullshit and the politics and just like we're doing something that's good for the people of the country and the world. Like, and not just these special interest groups, because it just seems like every establishment is just so bought out, and that's why no one cares about Biden. They're like, okay, it's not Trump. Like, that's literally the only reason Biden's elected is because it's not Trump. Like, if
there was a moderate Republican, I mean, I think it would have been a landslide. Like, I actually think it would have. No.
Yeah.
Question.
No, I
like what you said. I think it goes back to what you said. Like, nothing's black and white. Like, Trump isn't all bad. And a lot of people are going to try to paint that picture, but he's not. Like, there's good things that Trump brought. There's also a lot of bad.
Yes.
But that's the same with every single president we've had, every person, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, people paint him as this awful villain, but that's not true. I mean, this is going to be very extreme, but Hitler was not 100% bad. There were some slightly good things he did, even though obviously he's one of the worst people of all time.
Dude,
but it's not
no, I've said that before. I've said that with one of my friends, one of my buddies that's pretty active on social media, trying to be very like progressive and whatnot. He'll just like post these very divisive things, and I went in this conversation and where it was like, dude, like this random Republican politician, he might be 99% bad. He's not 100% bad. You don't need to like shame his family name. Like he's just a kid. Like he probably takes care of his grandchildren and takes them to get ice cream. Like that's still a good human aspect. Like, you can't just be like, this man is a shithead because he hates Planned Parenthood. Okay, it's an opinion. It might be bought out by someone and it's kind of dumb, but like, him as a being is not 100% horrible, and neither is any human being, I don't think. Like, even if Hitler is 99.999% bad, there's still something in them, you know?
Right. That's the problem. If someone has a label, like, there's people out there who are like, wow, this politician's like conservative, so they're bad. It's the same on the other side. This person's liberal, so it's just bad. But that's not true at all. It is all a spectrum. Like, you have like AOC on the far left, you have Trump on the far right, but there's liberals who are more conservative and conservatives who are more liberal, and those are the people who should be running the country.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
I mean, at the end of it, it's like, is Trump even on the line? Like, I feel like he's just like somewhere else. He's just floating around.
Yeah. I heard he's trying to start a new social media too, and that will be
Whoa.
very interesting.
Oh, that would be so bad. That would be so bad.
It'll be interesting.
Holy cow.
100% I'm going to be on it just to see what's
Holy
going on.
cow. Dude, that's so bad. Because then you're going to, like, okay, so you have Instagram, which is probably like, what, 70% like very liberal, 30% like conservative, because it's mostly young people who like understand technology. Something along those lines. Kind of made up, but like, it's something along those lines of significantly more liberal people. But then you're going to have this new platform, which is probably why he's responding, because big tech is against him, you know, and they're trying to censor him, so he's probably pissed off. So now he's going to create this platform, and no one that's a liberal is going to be on the Trump platform, that's for damn sure, because they're going to get ousted. So you're just going to have 95% Trumps. And then
that's where you go.
There's no information. If you have 90 to 95% of one thing that you're only getting your information from, like, you're only going to think that 90 to 95% because there's no nuance in your information intake.
Yeah, it's going to be bad. If I could just see all those people who, like, went to the Trump rallies, like, even in February, being on that and just even being more sucked in. It's bad. All media has become too skewed. I think there's one true unbiased media source out there, and I think it's the Wall Street Journal. That's the only one that is like staying true.
Hopefully. I mean, who even knows, man? I feel like it might even be independent people at this point, because like anything that has a corporation tied to it has political ties and stuff like that. I mean, you back and you see some of the things that happen in like some of the major like MSNBC and stuff, and like there's stuff that's leaked was like, yeah, we did everything we could to throw the election for Biden. It's like, that's our media? That's like one of the top 5 media brands in America? Like the most like, we're like the most upfront, like forward-facing country, and we're just gonna skew our politics like this? And we're caring about Russia doing it, but we're doing it probably more domestically? Like, what are we doing?
It's unbelievable. MSNBC is like, man, I can't even watch it for 5 minutes. It's so bad.
It's so bad.
Used to be like not that bad, and it has gotten to be really bad. It's crazy. It's unbelievable how.
I know. I remember like during the presidential cycle, like up in like November, I was like, okay, I want to tune into all these debates because like this is valuable to American democracy and the future of the world and shit like that. And then I was like, okay, I can watch it on MSNBC or I can watch it on Fox. And I did one debate on that and one debate on the other. And I was like, oh my God, they're just all talking bullshit out of their ass. Like, it's just everything is so skewed. And then like Trump is 100% bad and Biden's 100% good, or Trump's 100% good, Biden sucks. Like, it's not that. Like, there are good things to both people.
Right.
In varying amounts. I mean, maybe they both kind of suck because they're both got their problems. But I don't know. I just feel like if we had someone that was, somewhere moderate, but like completely like we are in it for the people. Like we want to get out of all the bullshit. We're going to get rid of money, this big money in politics and buying people out. Like, I think that's probably the worst thing that's ever happened to political system.
Right.
Is like the fact that big corporations are like people and like can buy anyone out. Like, how does that promote democracy?
Yeah.
How did we get there?
It's bad. It really is. I think honestly, 2024, it's either going to be worse or it's going to be much better. And if not, 2028 election, I guarantee people are going to go into that election and really try to split the middle and no like negative at all. I think it'll be really one of the most positive things we've ever had, 2028. Just because people are like sick of it. Like 2020 election was a nightmare. I think someone somewhere is gonna realize that the way to like campaign is not by just trying to bash the other person. Like we as people, you just want like someone who's gonna be a good guy. And I think as soon as someone realizes that, it's gonna trend that way. I really think it'll ultimately end up like that. But that might just be optimistic.
That's super optimistic, and I appreciate the optimism, but it's like, man, dude, like the way Instagram is going or social media, it doesn't seem like we're trending that way, right? Like it's like you want it to be like that.
I hate that Instagram banned Trump.
Oh my God.
I hate that. He was like spreading misinformation, kind of. But like, I don't think you should ever like ban someone like on a platform for like saying something that like is, even though what he was saying wasn't great, you should still give him the right to speak, and that's like destroying his freedom of speech ultimately, which is not great.
It's crazy. Like these big tech, like they're the most valuable companies in the entire world, right?
Yeah.
And every person that has any kind of influence is part of their, technology and their brand. So like they can control it, which is kind of scary, right?
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, Apple like is worth more than like many countries at this point, and that power and just not even like the money side of it, the like control of like, I mean, like I'm looking at you right now through my iPhone. I'm recording off my Mac. Like it's so integral to like society, especially in America, that like if they wanted to, they probably could take over the world somehow, just by like doing something through their devices, because everyone is so into it. Like I'm wearing an Apple Watch too. It's crazy. Like everything is Apple.
They got your heart rate data. They got your health. They know like.
Yeah, exactly. They know who's the athletes. They know who to take out first. They could run it.
Dude, it's like those chum buckets in SpongeBob where they just like came down in that. Did you ever watch SpongeBob movie? I think it was.
Yeah,
and then they just brainwash them, and you're like, wait, I thought it was cool hat. And no, the Apple Watch is actually going to take over your body.
I mean, it's scary. Like, if they wanted to, they could do that easily. It's like, wow, too much power.
Have you seen The Social Dilemma?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a good one.
Great. It's phenomenally made, but it's so scary. Like, the fact that, like, I don't know. Like, the buildup of the entire story, I mean, it's a bit of a spoiler, right? But, I mean, we're living this life, so, like, we kind of... You kind of know what's going to happen, hopefully. But in the end, the whole movie is building up to all of these, like, social media, Facebook people that have retired or been, like, kicked out that are, like, talking to the camera, and they're like, this algorithm that I created, in part, is built to someday we're going to come to this meeting point where we might break out into civil war. Like, the fact that that's a reality is insane. Yeah. Domestically, within the most powerful and wealthy country in the history of the world, and we can't even like contain ourselves in that regards, and we're trying to like solve all these other world problems.
That is crazy. I mean, I think ultimately like it all comes down to like getting out of like the internet. Like the internet connects everyone, right? Undebatable, but it also divides everyone. And I mean, yeah, like also in that movie they touch on like screen time and stuff. And like some of my friends will have like phone screen time of like 7 or 8 hours. I'm like, how do you do it? Like I could never have that. I actually keep my like phone very bare. Like it has almost nothing on it. And honestly, I've been really like debating if I should delete Instagram too. Like that's the only social media I keep on my phone, and I don't know if I want like to keep it because it has so much like power over me. Like I definitely spend half an hour on it a day, and it's bad. And it honestly, as a content creator too, it's kind of concerning because my whole goal is to keep people watching my videos and keep them on the platform instead of watching my videos isn't like the most productive thing you can do with your life, you know? So it's a lot of like concern, honestly. And I can do my part like individually, but it's like a global thing. And people now think it's okay to like spend hours on your phone every day, and that in not having that real human connection and just seeing these like words and pictures on a screen, and like it makes it so much easier to like feel disconnected and like, you know, be divisive. Like, yeah, exactly. When you don't have real conversation, it's hard to see the other side's point of view with politics and stuff like that.
For sure, because it's just trying to get your attention. That's all it's trying to do, right? So like the
Yeah,
more
it's trying to
polarized,
focus on
the more polarized it can be, the more it's going to be like, oh, Bernie Sanders kills children. You're going to be like, holy shit, let me click on that. Versus like,
Yeah,
Bernie Sanders created this great program for people in the Middle East. You're like, huh, nah. You know, like,
the bad news gets clicked, the good news does not. Like that's a big problem, and there's like no good way to solve it. It's an impossible problem to solve because you have to hurt your profitability in order to solve a bigger issue. It just comes down to like, man, like you don't want to make it government regulation because that it's like cancels free speech, but you almost have to because it's hard for the companies to choose to limit this stuff. And Instagram has like tried. Okay, not seeing likes. I don't know. I personally never cared about that or anything like that. But I guess it's a step in the right direction. But who knows? There's a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed.
so is that like so is Instagram, did they completely roll that out? Like, is it official
They
yet?
actually added back an option so you can show it.
Oh, so you get to choose.
Right.
Maybe that's the best situation. I don't know. They'll get less outlash for sure. So I think there is value, at least for a creator, and being able to compare for sure. Because like, I mean, if you're going at a YouTube video, like the whole time you're like, when you're looking at analytics, you're trying to compare against like what is a popular channel that's getting 1 million views a video. Like what are they doing versus what am I doing, right? And if like you don't know the difference, you're like, well, am I doing better, worse, or how are we comparing here?
Yeah, I agree. It's like, it definitely does hurt, like, mental health or whatever, to, like, compare yourself to others, but it's so essential, especially if you're doing, like, if more and more jobs are being through social media, and you need that comparative to, like, see. Like, YouTube, it allows you, like, you post a video, and it allows you to see, like, how it did out of the last 10 videos you posted. And that's so essential. I would honestly have no clue what any of my stats mean for like a instantaneous upload like that without seeing that. So it's essential, but at the same time, if one of my videos is like 10 out of 10, I'm like, wow, that sucked. And it honestly does put me in like a bad mood or whatever.
Yeah, it's hard because you have to be aware of it, but you have to detach yourself from as much as possible in order to remain mentally sane, right? Because I remember the video I just posted, the Everest one. I don't know if you saw it or anything, but I stair climbed Everest, and like I was like, damn, dude, it's like just performing like, I don't know. I don't know if it's the fact that like some of my subscribers are just so running focused that like the fact that it's still fitness and stuff and like fun and like kind of a challenge, and it was really hard. It took so much effort, and I edited it for like 40 hours and stuff.
Bro,
but like then
it's tough when a video just like when you put out what you think is a banger and then it's like 7 out of 10, you're like, what? Like, how did this do badly? Like, and then like something you like don't put that much effort into is like 1 out of 10 random.
Yes,
it's so random. And like I feel you. I put out a video and it was like I contacted like a bunch of brands. They sent me gear. It was like I bought the craziest running gear in the world, and I was like, this video I spent so long, like I edited it for days, and it like did subpar compared to my other ones. I was like, this sucks. Like,
how?
I think like he is taking a step back, and like for this video, like for me, it got like 1K in like I mean it didn't do as good, but I looked back and I was like, well, if this was 6 months ago, I'd be super stoked about this video, and like I'm still able to like reach as many people. So it's like you gotta like separate yourself, like you said, and just kind of be like, well, it's better than what I ever thought I'd be doing.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard too because you look at like some YouTubers and like they're struggling because their audience only knows them as this one small percent of their being, and they're like, that's the only version of you I like. You, the rest of you sucks. I would never watch a video, like, and then it's demoralizing, right? When you're like, oh, I put all this time into this other portion of my life that I am that portion of my life, and then nothing comes from it analytically, and you're like, is that portion of my life valuable? Wait, yes it is. Why am I even questioning that? Like, I love doing that still.
When you, like, so, okay, let's just use Zach as an example, because he's, like, a very obvious example. So, Zach has, like, built up a running, like, niche for so long. Like, it's all running, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's, like, trying to daily vlog, and he's tried to, like, do all this stuff, and all this different stuff. And it hasn't worked, but, like, you gotta look at it and be like, I'm basically starting anew. Because your video's gonna bomb if your initial audience doesn't like it. It is going to bomb. There's no way it can succeed if your initial audience. So you need to, like, it's all about a slow conversion to get a new initial audience, essentially. And he doesn't, like, I don't want to, like, slam him too hard. He isn't committed long term to do that. Like, 6 months, it's gonna take 6 months. You need to be posting the best content you can. It's going to do awful, and that's going to suck. But if you successfully want to convert yourself, like, away from running, or any niche, if you're stuck in a niche, it's going to take 6 months of constantly uploading the best videos you can, having them fail, and that sucks. It's a big problem, but that's what you have to do. You have to be consistent on anything else.
100%. Like, that's exactly what I was thinking about, because, like, every so often, like, because Zach's such a big, like, person in this like space, you know?
Yeah.
So, especially for just like people who've ran before, like everyone knows who Zach Lovett is for the most part. He's probably the most popular one amongst like people who actually run and not like moms who watch Nick Simmons videos and stuff.
Like,
but
like young kids, like
kids. Yeah, but it's just like I remember when he started daily vlogging like in January or whatever, and then his like subs were just going down, and I was like, people, why do you hate Zach? Like, he's such a good guy. At least he seems like from the outside.
Right.
Like, oh, man.
Blame people for unsubscribing, honestly. Like, they subscribe to see running, it's not running. Like, I like, it's hard because, like, it's like, yeah, you should still support him, but, like, it isn't what they subscribe for. But the problem was, after a week, Zach's like, this isn't getting views, I'm losing subscribers. But you're going to. Like, you're going to.
Yes.
It's going to happen. And you gotta stick through, like, no matter what.
Okay, because, yeah, if you think about it, like, if Zach has, say, he doesn't quite, but if he has 100K and 65K want to watch running videos, and 35K, or maybe, like, 15K are indifferent, and 20K will just be there forever, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're at. You're not at 100,000 subs. You're at 20,000 subs of people that are going to be there watching your videos, and you're just trying to build that an entire new audience for some other facet of your life and more well-rounded. And I think that's what's part of the key when you're building the channel up is you need to be putting in like stuff like I'm going to make a running video, I'm going to make a travel video, I'm going to make a this video, I'm going to make a this video, and not just running, because then people are like, I come here for running. Versus like I come here for all of these things, even though maybe they don't all get as much traction and stuff like that. It's hard, but you need to diversify because I mean a human being can't be defined by making shoe reviews, you know?
Yeah, big time. Like I completely agree. It's hard. I think it's like really, really hard to see growth unless you nicheify. Like you almost need to be in a niche. I actually was posting like not anything, but like travel and like diabetes videos as well. And in 2021, I like flipped the switch. I was like, I'm only gonna do running, and it like the growth skyrocketed. oh my gosh, the growth skyrocketed because like people want to see consistency and they want to see the same thing. And I think ultimately you almost have to be in a niche. But if you want to change the niche, you have to commit to changing it. And you have to be like 6 months, give me a year, and do that. Or like, for example, if I was like doing running right now, and say I wanted to become a like travel YouTuber, the way to do it is by like I would make running travel videos. So like it'd be like I went to Kenya to run like with Kipchoge or something like that. So you make like travel videos, but they have running in it, and it's a slow transition. So like I don't know. I think a lot of people. Okay, no, only Zach is really the one trying to get out of running, and I think it's a good case study for people in the future because the athlete special actually doesn't love that he makes running videos, but he doesn't know how to change it. And
what does he want to make?
I have no clue. He just like doesn't really. He's not really into the running. And honestly, you could argue, okay, his channel's not dying, but it's definitely not growing super fast. Like there's people who are growing faster than him at this point, and it's because he hasn't like learned. He like is posting the exact same content he has for the last 2 or 3 years, and he hasn't shifted. He hasn't improved his thumbnails. He hasn't improved his video editing. It's the exact same, and there's people who are coming up who know how to edit and know how to make thumbnails and know how to make a good idea that are going to take him out. Like, I think you need to adapt in order to survive ultimately.
I mean, yeah, it's so true. I mean, if you look at like people who are like big in the space, like the Paul brothers, right? Like they're completely trying to change their niche, and they're doing it so successfully because it's been this slow transition. Like, oh, like I was a YouTuber, or I was a Vine guy, and then I'm a YouTuber, and then I have a podcast, and then wait, now I'm gonna be a boxer. But yeah. I'm doing it in this like I'm growing so much and making my content better every time that even though like I collect Pokemon cards now and don't do stupid stunts, like I still want to watch him collect Pokemon cards or whatever like that, which is cool. It's like there's how to do it, I guess, because they've had so much success and they're still getting crazy views and their value is still going up. And now Logan Paul's fighting the Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match, and you're like, holy cow, like that's legit. That's real world stuff. He's fighting a real world boxer. And I think that's part of the thing. It's hard for an influencer is like in order to be like a legendary influencer, you need to move your market from social media into the real world somehow. And I think that's what like Mr. Beast is doing with Beast Burger and stuff like that. Like things where it's not just like YouTube or TikTok or stuff like that, because like some people don't consume any of that content, and that eventually that platform will probably end. At some point, you'd think something's going to come up that's bigger and better. So, like, you have to be able to take yours into a different facet of life. And it's just hard to guide that audience. But if you do, it can be so valuable to yourself.
Big time. Diversification's key. I personally, I think YouTube will be around, like, strongly for the next at least 10 years. But the thing that fascinates me the most, like, I love YouTube in itself. But the thing I love is, like, YouTube as like a launching platform into like different areas. Like Mr. Beast, like the dude started a burger chain. What? How is that possible? And it's because he has this massive, loyal, well-rounded audience. So the man can launch anything he wants, and if it has his name attached, it's gonna
oh my god, dude, he's gonna be
David Dobrik too. Before like
the whole shitstorm. Yeah, I
don't.
The
100K puzzle. It sold out in like a day. People paid $25 for the novelty because it had David Dobrik attached to it.
It's actually crazy. Like that's what I was thinking. Like YouTube is cool, and then I wanted to start this podcast too because I feel like it's a launching point, right? Like you can do anything from here essentially, which is so cool.
Right. It gives you connections too. Like, I mean, my channel is very, very small in the grand scheme of things, but within the niche, I've been able to like have connections with like Hoka and like other companies as well. just because I have this channel, and like it gives, like, if I'm looking for a job, I know I can reach out to these companies who I'm already connected to. Like, it's just key to have the brand. Like, I have the brand behind my channel, and like it elevates my name, as like egotistical as that is. Like, you need your name out there, and like just having that can give you a ton of success outside.
Yeah, dude, it's like that 6 rings of influence or whatever it is,
Yeah.
where it's like you're really only ever 6 people away, and like
Right.
Rusty and I were talking about this. Like my co-host guy over there, he sits in the back, but he was talking about how it's like, so like if that's true, like how do we know Joe Rogan or something like that? And I was like, well, you know, I'm going to talk to Tyler tomorrow, and Tyler knows Zach, and I'm sure Zach knows someone in LA that knows Joe Rogan. That's or at least someone knows Joe Rogan. It's like, holy cow. Like, you could just do that with pretty much anyone. It's beautiful, like, the connections you can make, and that's why I was so excited about this podcast, is like, you know, like, I get to talk to you, and then I get to talk to someone else, and talk to someone else, and anyone else can come back, and we can see, like, a year from now, you come back on, we're like, holy cow, Tyler, you have 50K subs, and like your podcast is doing great, and you've launched this new business, and we're like, dude, look at all the places you've come. It's beautiful, right? And then you just like have all these connections you're building, and now I'm like, the other thing is like the self-promotion of it is like, okay, each person who comes on my podcast, I want the podcast to do well, and they also want the podcast to do well because it's promoting them and it's promoting me. So then we're sharing it all, and we're all having this great like kumbaya where we're, you know, sharing our communities that we've built online, and it just seems like a really productive thing.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the podcast helps get your name out, like, through me essentially, and like the thing I think is like most interesting about that is if you think about it, like every subscriber you have is technically like your first ring of influence, because like if you like, say you like need like I don't even know, say you need a recommendation for dinner in like Buffalo, New York. If you have a subscriber there, like that's instantly someone you know who will tell you that. And that's something you would never have if you didn't get into the space.
It's so cool, dude, because, you know, like when you're traveling somewhere new, like domestically or internationally, if you meet someone that's a local, you have such a good time, because like the people there are like, yeah, actually, we don't want to do this stupid thing that's on TripAdvisor. Yeah. Like, there's this cool spot that no one knows about, and it's actually local people hang out there, and like, then you're like, wow, this was such a great night. Like, I'm so glad I went out of my way to talk to you. And that's usually what it is. Like, going out of your way to talk to someone, like, how often is it a bad thing? Like, almost never, right?
Never. Absolutely never. Dude, I mean, honestly, like, it's just so key, like, to always, like, shoot your shot. Like, anytime, like, someone DMs me, I actually respond to literally every single DM. Because I'm like, these people took the time to, like, reach out to me. So, like, I would be, like, a disservice not to respond. Like, you should always, like, try to, like, reach out to as many people as you possibly can. Because it's so key to, like, meet new people. And, like, you're like, oh, you're working on this. Like, what knowledge do you have, like, that could help me? And, like, that's what I love about, like, being such good friends with Zach, is we talk YouTube so much, and, like, he has helped me a million ways, just, like, bounce ideas off, and, like, how does this perform? How does this perform? And it's so key to, like, have connections like that, and have people who have knowledge you don't, to, like, give you that knowledge. It just makes you, like, a smarter, better person.
Oh, for sure. I mean, as many sources of information as you can get, probably the better, right? I mean, because then
exactly.
If you have 3 sources of information and one of them sucks, then like a third of you sucks, right? So like if you have 100 and one of them sucks, then like 1% of you sucks, right?
Yeah.
I guess it kind of comes down to that. Well, dude, I mean, I think that's one thing also with the podcast is like, I really have no one that I've have like a strong connection with that's been like better at YouTube than me. Like, I'm not that great at YouTube. I'm beginning YouTube, but like I don't have many friends in the space. So it was so cool to be able to like build this interaction with you and stuff like that. And I hope to like keep this going for a while. I think it would be cool to have this connection. And I mean, maybe we can do something this summer. We can get together. You can come out to Flagstaff or something. And
dude, I would love to go back to Flag. It's awesome.
I mean, dude, we could
keep growing. Anytime you keep growing, more people take notice, and you just grow like naturally through that. You'll get more people, and it's crazy how it works and all that.
I mean, yeah, maybe we can try to create some content house, like, not in LA, because apparently that's not the place to be.
Bro, for sure. Everyone's moving out of LA.
They are, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy. People are done with it. The taxes and the government and the COVID stuff, and everyone just wants to play in a place that's a little bit less of LA.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. Hey, mountains, that's where it's at.
Who?
Mountains.
Where's that?
You're right there. No, just like generally mountains, like Colorado.
Oh, mountains. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, it's so much better and so much more relaxing. Like I was in Park City and LA. Park City was just different. Like, it was just relaxing. We went out, ran, read, just talked. Like, it was so much better because there was nothing to do. Like, it was just relaxing. We could focus on what was important versus everything in the night. Like,
and you're
so much fun.
Surrounded by the mountains, and the mountains just make you feel good, and you're like, it's sunny out, I'm having a good day, it's not hot, it's not cold, we're just hanging out. Oh, it's a great time. Well,
good times. I miss it.
I mean, we'll have to get out there this summer, man, for sure. Dude, thanks for coming on the pod. It's been great talking to you, dude. And
it has been a blast. This was a good one. We had some good combos.
I think so too. Well, you have a good one, dude.
Yes, for sure. Thank you, guys. Make sure to rate the podcast 5 stars.
Okay, yeah, rate it.